Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A phenomenon that follows and is caused by some previous phenomenon. Something that results. A phenomenon that follows and is caused by some previous phenomenon. His decision had depressing consequences for business. Having important effects or influence. Decisions of great consequence are made by the president himself. The outcome of an event especially is relative to an individual. A phenomenon that follows and is caused by some previous phenomenon. The magnetic effect was greater when the rod was lengthwise. Of a law, having legal validity. The law is still in effect. Produce. The central meaning or theme of a speech or literary work. An outward appearance. She retained that bold effect in her reproductions of the original painting. Act so as to bring into existence. Effect a change. An impression, especially one that is artificial or contrived. He just did it for effect. A symptom caused by an illness or a drug. The effects of sleep loss. A phenomenon that follows and is caused by some previous phenomenon. He acted very wise after the event. A special set of circumstances. In that event, the first possibility is excluded. A phenomenon located at a single point in spacetime, the fundamental observational entity in relativity theory. Something that happens at a given place and time. A phenomenon that follows and is caused by some previous phenomenon. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. Circulate or distribute or equip with. Issue a new uniform to the children. Come out of. Water issued from the hole in the wall. The act of issuing printed materials. One of a series published periodically. She found an old issue of the magazine in her dentist's waiting room. An opening that permits escape or release. The canyon had only one issue. The becoming visible. Prepare an issue for public distribution or sale. Supplies, as food or clothing or ammunition, issued by the government. The immediate descendants of a person. He died without issue. The act of providing an item for general use or for official purposes, usually in quantity. A new issue of stamps. Make out an issue. Some situation or event that is thought about. An important question that is in dispute and must be settled. The issue could be settled by requiring public education for everyone. Bring out an official document, such as a warrant. A phenomenon that follows and is caused by some previous phenomenon. Produce as a result or residue. Issue or terminate, in a specified way, state, etc., end. Result in tragedy. A statement that solves a problem or explains how to solve the problem. He computed the result to 4 decimal places. The semantic role of the noun phrase whose referent exists only by virtue of the activity denoted by the verb in the clause. Something that results. He listened for the results on the radio. Come about or follow as a consequence. Nothing will result from this meeting. A phenomenon that follows and is caused by some previous phenomenon. Something that results. The final point in a process. Occurring with or following as a consequence. The resultant savings were considerable. A vector that is the sum of two or more other vectors. Something that results. The end of a word, a suffix or inflectional ending or final morpheme. The act of ending something. The termination of the agreement. A coming to an end of a contract period. A place where something ends or is complete. Something that results. Any state or process known through the senses rather than by intuition or reasoning. A remarkable development. Event whose occurrence ends something. His death marked the ending of an era. The end of a word, a suffix or inflectional ending or final morpheme. I don't like words that have ism as an ending. The act of ending something. The last section of a communication. The point in time at which something ends. The ending of warranty period. A decorative texture or appearance of a surface, or the substance that gives it that appearance. The boat had a metallic finish. Event whose occurrence ends something. When these final episodes are broadcast, it will be the finish of the show. Finish eating all the food on one's plate or on the table. Finally, be or do something. The temporal end, the concluding time. The market was up at the finish. A highly developed state of perfection, having a flawless or impeccable quality. Almost an inspiration which gives to all work that finish which is almost art. Have an end, in a temporal, spatial, or quantitative sense, either spatial or metaphorical. The act of finishing. His best finish in a major tournament was third. Come or bring to a finish or an end. He finished the dishes. The place designated as the end, as of a race or journey. A crowd assembled at the finish. Cause to finish a relationship with somebody. That finished me with Mary. Designated event that concludes a contest, especially a race. Excitement grew as the finish neared. Provide with a finish. The carpenter finished the table beautifully. The downfall of someone, as of persons on one side of a conflict. Booze will be the finish of him. Wine tasting. The taste of a wine on the back of the tongue, as it is swallowed. The wine has a nutty flavor and a pleasant finish. Event whose occurrence ends something. The proposition arrived at by logical reasoning, such as the proposition that must follow from the major and minor premises of a syllogism. The act of making up your mind about something. He drew his conclusions quickly. A position or opinion or judgment reached after consideration. His conclusion took the evidence into account. The act of ending something. The last section of a communication. In conclusion, I want to say. The temporal end, the concluding time. A final settlement. The conclusion of a business deal. An intuitive assumption. Jump to a conclusion. The consequences of an event, especially a catastrophic event. The aftermath of war. The outcome of an event especially is relative to an individual. The consequences of an event, especially a catastrophic event. The flow of air that is driven backwards by an aircraft propeller. The wave that spreads behind a boat as it moves forward. The phenomenon of a popular trend attracting even greater popularity. In periods of high merger activity, there is a bandwagon effect with more and more firms seeking to engage in takeover activity. A part of a forked or branching shape. He broke off one of the branches. Any projection that is thought to resemble a human arm. A branch of the sewer. Grow and send out branches or branch-like structures. A natural consequence of development. Divide into two or more branches so as to form a fork. A division of some larger or more complex organization. A branch of Congress. A division of a stem, or secondary stem arising from the main stem of a plant. A stream or river connected to a larger one. The shattering or crushing effect of a sudden release of energy as in an explosion. The phenomenon whereby a small change at one place in a complex system can have large effects elsewhere, e.g., a butterfly flapping its wings in Rio de Janeiro might change the weather in Chicago. A secondary and sometimes unexpected consequence. A product made during the manufacture of something else. A secondary and sometimes unexpected consequence. A product made during the manufacture of something else. Lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. The car changed lanes. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. The discussion has changed my thinking about the issue. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. He changed his name. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The change was intended to increase sales. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Her mood changes in accordance with the weather. Give to, and receive from, one another. Would you change places with me? Become deeper in tone. His voice began to change when he was 12 years old. Change from one vehicle or transportation line to another. She changed in Chicago on her way to the East Coast. A difference that is usually pleasant. It is a refreshing change to meet a woman mechanic. A different or fresh set of clothes. She brought a change in her overnight bag. A relational difference between states, especially between states before and after some event. He attributed the change to their marriage. A thing that is different. He inspected several changes before selecting one. Change clothes. Put on different clothes. Coins of small denomination regarded collectively. He had a pocketful of change. Money received in return for its equivalent in a larger denomination or a different currency. He got change for a 20 and used it to pay the taxi driver. Remove or replace the coverings of. Father had to learn how to change the baby. The action of changing something. The change of government had no impact on the economy. The balance of money received when the amount you tender is greater than the amount due. I paid with a 20 and pocketed the change. The result of alteration or modification. There were marked changes in the lining of the lungs. Undergo a change. Become different in essence, losing one's or its original nature. She changed completely as she grew older. Politics. The consequence of one popular candidate in an election drawing votes for other members of the same political party. He counted on the coattails effect to win him the election. A delayed effect of a drug or therapy. The drug had unexpected aftereffects. Any result that follows its cause after an interval. A natural consequence of development. Any immature animal. The immediate descendants of a person. She was the mother of many offspring. Something that comes into existence as a result. Industrialism prepared the way for acceptance of the French Revolution's various socialistic offspring. A natural prolongation or projection from a part of an organism, either animal or plant. The gradual beginning or coming forth. A natural consequence of development. Any effect that seems to be a consequence of administering a placebo. The change is usually beneficial and is assumed result from the person's faith in the treatment or preconceptions about what the experimental drug was supposed to do. Pharmacologists were the first to talk about placebo effects, but now the idea has been generalized to many situations having nothing to do with drugs. Genetics. The effect on the expression of a gene that is produced by changing its location in a chromosome. The set of elements common to two or more sets. An artifact that has been created by someone or some process. They improve their product every year. Commodities offered for sale. That store offers a variety of products. A quantity obtained by multiplication. The product of 2 and 3 is 6. A chemical substance formed as a result of a chemical reaction. A product of lime and nitric acid. A consequence of someone's efforts or of a particular set of circumstances. Skill is the product of hours of practice.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.